Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Catherine Andrioli. We begin tonight with City Council making some budget cuts during Tuesday night's meeting, but not as much as some city councilors hoped. City councilors reduced the city manager's Ed Augustus's budget. The more than $632 million budget that was reduced by less than 0.1%. Some of those reductions include $400,000 to the city's street lighting account and cutting more than $220,000 subsidy for the DCU Center. SMG, the management company of the DCU Center, revised its estimated income for the fiscal year to $800,000. The original estimate was $600,000. City Councilor George Russell says he questions whether or not the DCU Center should be asking for grants paid for by the taxpayers.
They're still asking for the city to contribute money toward the operations of the Civic Center. But if you look at the auditing report and look at the finances, because they've had some good concerts there and the management company is doing such a good job generating revenue, they in fact don't need the money. So I'll be asking to cut that money out because I figure it's a couple $100,000 that the taxpayers could save.
Turning now to the weather, it turned to be a nice day despite some on and off clouds, and boaters on Lake Quinsigamond were taking full advantage of these warm temperatures. Take a look at the lake from earlier today. Many were out enjoying the weather after a long stretch of cold rain. It's been unusually cold for this time of year, but boaters say they're glad to finally get out on the water.
Last few days, but we managed to get out here anyways despite the rain. Just seeing the people boating, families boating, everybody having a good time, us having a good time. That's all it's about.
And more warm weather is on the horizon. Tim Kelly will have the complete forecast coming up later in the show. Worcester police investigating a pedestrian accident involving a teenager. A 13-year-old was hit by a car on his way to school Wednesday morning. Police say the incident happened on Granite Street. The boy was brought to a hospital with a head and a knee injury, but is in stable condition. The driver stayed on scene and was cooperative. Police say the boy was crossing the street when he was hit and rolled onto the hood of that Nissan Sentra. The investigation is ongoing. Comey's hearing was definitely a must-see. TV and one local diner even showed that testimony on TV, and customers ate their meals and watched along. Eli Rosenberg has the story from Worcester.
It's not a Republican thing or a Democratic thing. It really is an American thing.
At Mac's Diner in Worcester, former FBI Director James Comey's hearing in D.C., a hot topic.
I trust Comey, though. I definitely trust Comey.
Comey's testimony on Capitol Hill on in the corner at this diner.
This is where the rubber meets the road.
Steve Simone watching closely while he waited for his lunch to arrive.
Try to wrap your head around this.
Simone had heard of others taking the day off to watch. Not an option here. So he was trying to catch up.
Well, you don't know behind closed doors what goes on, you know. But maybe we'll know what went on behind closed doors now.
Across the table, a similar sentiment.
Unfortunately, there's a lot more going on that we don't hear about it, and this is certainly another one on top of everything else.
A congressional show in D.C. providing lunchtime viewing hundreds of miles away. Well, many we talked to today say it's too early to tell how all of this will play out, with one saying he wants to see how the midterm elections go in 2018 before he declares a winner. Reporting in Worcester, Eli Rosenberg, Worcester News Tonight.
And hundreds of Americans in central Massachusetts watching former FBI Director James Comey testifying under oath today. We caught up with political expert Guy Glodis at the Ballot Box Bar to give his take on the situation.
I think really both sides tonight walk away after the Comey testimony with some very strong pros and unfortunately some cons. But you know, the bigger picture is that this presidency is going to stay on the defensive side of the ball for the next couple of years, and that's not good not only for the president, but it's not good for the country. You know, it's a very disturbing time, but you know, the democracies are made to survive this. You know, we've survived the Civil War, we survived Watergate, we survived upheaval and civil unrest during the 70s in Vietnam, and we're going through a tumultuous time here in the United States. But our democracy is made to survive this. So there's going to be some bumps along the way, but hopefully we can move forward with a more unified country and get the people's work done.
Turning now to Southbridge, residents will be voting to the non-binding question next week on whether they think the town's landfill should stay or should go. Casella Waste Systems has ran the landfill since 2003 and has generated about $4 million to the town per year. Roslyn Flaherty joins us with the story.
A debate has been going on for several months in Southbridge. Should the landfill stay and expand, or should it go?
We're mostly interested in talking to the town about what they really want to do, because we'll only work with them if they want us to stay.
On June 13th, residents will vote yes or no to the non-binding question. If residents vote no, there's a chance the landfill could close next year. But if the residents vote yes, a conversation between the town and company will follow about expanding.
The smell alone, it's horrible.
The closer a resident lives to the landfill, the more they're opposed to any kind of expansion of the landfill. Some residents are tired of the trucks going by their house, the noise, the smell of the landfill. If they're farther away from the landfill, they tend to be more, well, you know what, the taxes and the revenue that are brought to the town, the revenue brought to the town will keep taxes down and provide good government services.
Thomas Q is the director of the landfill development for Casella Waste. He says in the 70 acres, they collect more than 400,000 tons of trash a year. He would like to expand the landfill to areas around it.
Massachusetts still generates about 5.5 million tons of trash a year. Limited where it can go, landfills are closing all over. We do provide, Southbridge Landfill provides a service for the whole state. 99% of the trash that comes into Southbridge Landfill is from the state of Massachusetts. They need a place to go.
Q says in 2015, the landfill provided $4 million to the town, as well as free trash pickup. He says the town would do better with them there, and if they close, 36 men and women will lose their jobs.
That's 36 families, the way I look at it, and they will all be affected by that.
Town manager Ron Sanangelo says over the past couple years, they have come to rely less financially on the money from the landfill.
It's not going to have a huge impact on direct day-to-day services the town provides to the citizens, but it does have an impact that we won't be able to pay off some of our debt earlier. Eventually it's going to impact trash service in 2027, so it has a longer-term negative effect on the town.
Rosalind Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
Over the past several years, area farms have had many things to worry about, from freezing crops to an extreme drought. But a group of central Massachusetts farmer wants to make sure the public knows they care about other causes, and this summer they're putting their muscles to work raising money for a good cause. Olivia Lemon has the story.
I got myself in great shape, I did the ride, and I was blown away.
This August will be Mike Davidian's 9th year participating in the Pan Mass Challenge. The 4th generation farmer at Davidian Brothers Farm says the ride requires a lot of physical endurance, but is powerful and rewarding.
It's obviously needed. We need these funds. 5
members of the Massachusetts Farm Bureau Federation will ride in the PMC, raising money for cancer research. Davidian will start in Sturbridge, riding all the way to Provincetown.
Awesome.
The challenge for first-time rider John Connors is personal.
A few years ago, my dad was diagnosed with colorectal cancer. He's been in a battle pretty much ever since, and my ride's for him.
Connors and Davidian are hoping their team can raise $50,000 to help. 5 farms across the state are hosting an event this Saturday, Camping for a Cure. Last year was the first time Davidian hosted the event. He says he raised more than $4,000 alone.
I think the important part about this is to make sure that we understand that there's a connection between agriculture and farmers in particular, and their willingness to really raise money for a worthy cause.
Davidian says the day will include food, music, and entertainment, followed by an outdoor movie at night. Anyone who wants to spend the night is welcome to camp out on the farm. Meanwhile, the Massachusetts Farm Bureau says the event will give customers a chance to learn more about local farms.
This is just a great event to bring people out and for them to really get to see this is what the farmers do, and they care. They care about cancer research. They care about us as consumers. So it's just a great event for us.
I think this is a good way for us to show that we care for more than just the small little niche of agriculture. We care about everybody in Massachusetts.
Olivia Lemon, Worcester.